In this video, we're going to turn this, so this shape sounds like this, C major, into this. Hi, I'm Joe and welcome to the channel. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch these. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe down below and ring the bell. You'll be notified when the next video in this series comes out. The series is based on a very simple concept. We're taking 2 chords per video and we're learning to switch in between those chords. We first started with major shapes, then we moved to minor shapes, and now we're combining major and minor chords together. I've organized this video into 4 sections. In the first part, I'm going to introduce you to the G minor and C major chord shape. Then I'm going to play you a musical example that uses those shapes. And in the third part, I'm going to show you how I played each individual guitar part on the track so you can see exactly what I'm doing and learn them at home. And in the fourth part, I'll give you some practice tips. Let's go ahead and get started on this one. Before we get to the musical example in the practice track, let me show you the 2 chord shapes that we're going to be using today. We're going to start with the G minor shape. G minor, we're going to start with our 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the D string. And then we're going to use a bar. We're going to take our 1st finger and flatten it across the 3rd fret of the G string, the B string, and the high E string. So this sounds like this. G minor. For C major, we're going to start with our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, then we'll have an open G, our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and then an open E. So this shape sounds like this. C major. Another way to play C major is with a bar shape. If you remember your A chord from a previous video, where we were flattening our 1st finger, if we replace that with our 3rd finger, and then slide this shape up, and put our 1st finger down on the C note, on the A string on the 3rd fret, this also is a C major chord. And this is called a bar chord because we're taking our finger and we're barring it across the frets. What's nice about this is this C is in close proximity to the G minor that we had previously. This allows us to switch quickly from the G minor to the C, back to the G minor. And all we're doing to make that switch is we're taking our 3rd finger, flattening it down, and then moving our 1st finger up to where the C note is up here. So again, G minor, flattening our 3rd finger, and bringing our 1st finger up, we now have C major. Let's go ahead now and move over to the practice song. So this song is a lot of fun to play. There's 3 parts to it, and it has a little bit more of a funk feel to it. For the first part, we're just going to stay with our basic shapes, which is the G minor and the C, but we're only going to play the top half of each chord. So that basically we're going to stay on the top 3 strings. For the G minor, we're just going to bar our 1st finger across the 3rd fret of the G, B, and E string. And for the C, we're going to play the open G, our 1st finger down for the C note, the root note, on the B string, and we're going to keep the open E. So again, just the top 3 strings, and we're going to use our fingers instead of a pick. To C. And that's all the first part really is. For the second part of the song, we're going to play arpeggios, which means we're going to play each note individually in the chord. And we're going to focus only on the middle strings here. So we're going to play the G like this. walking up that chord. We'll slide down to our C, but we don't need our root. We can lift that up, and we're going to play only the E, G, and C note of this chord. So up tempo. And that's all there is to that part. The third part's a lot of fun to play, and these are sometimes often called a bubble part. It's single note lines that you're going to play over a song or a track. Again, we're staying with the same shapes, the G minor and the C. But what I'm doing is for the C, instead of playing the C down here, I'm envisioning here a C bar chord. So if you remember from a previous lesson, we had our A. If we take that shape and slide it up, we have the C chord here, same as this. Just play with different fingers. And I'm going to play off the idea of using a pivot note off of a common tone. If you notice, this G minor and the C share a G note. So we're going to play that on both chords. When we play the G minor, we're going to play our B flat with our first finger, and when we move to the C chord, we'll just use the C note here on the 5th fret of the G string. So this part kind of goes like this. To the C. And all I'm doing again is playing the G to the B flat, G to the C, just to outline those chord changes. If you notice on the C chord, to add a little something extra special, I did a little basic walk up. And all I'm doing is, remember this C chord? I'm starting off with the root, walking up to the D, to the F, to the G, and that's all I'm doing for that part. So up tempo, it goes like this. And that's how I end the song as well. I play that little part again and land on the G note to end the song. That's all there is for this song. Let's go ahead and move over to the practice tips. For this song, there's a lot to practice, especially in the rhythm department. But first, get the chord shapes underneath your fingers. Get that G minor and the C down. And also learn the C in both positions, down low in the open position and also as the bar chord that you saw that started on the 3rd fret. Once you have those chord shapes down, the main thing to practice with this one is the rhythm. Each of these different parts had a specific rhythm to them. And again, feel free to download these practice tracks from my website for free. That's why I made them. I made them for you as a practice tool. And you can really start to learn how these parts interact with each other. And lastly, I want to encourage you to come up with your own bubble parts. Bubble parts are so much fun to play. They just add a little bit extra spice to any type of song. That's another video done for this series. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch it. I really do appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. If you haven't done so already, please support the channel for free by subscribing down below, hit the like icon, and knock on the bell and you'll be notified when the next video comes out. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day. The third part's a lot of fun to play, and it has that little